Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have finished a catalog for the End of Humanity this month. I started it a couple months ago. I should have wrote down when I started it, but I did, and I've been reading through it very slowly. So yeah, overall thoughts. It was enjoyable. A lot of things. There's a couple stories that reminded me a lot of Ken Liu, especially one of the first ones. Let's see if I can. Especially the exclusion clause and small print of life are like Ken Liu stories, but it's really interesting to see. This is a guy I follow on YouTube who does writing analysis videos, and this is the first fiction book that he has published, so I was really excited to read it. And some of these are really good, some of them are okay. My favorite is probably a Thousand Kinds of Silence, which is a poem. So that's really impressive because poems aren't really my thing. It's really confusing, but I really connected with like this last stanza because it felt like it captured how it feels when I have a panic attack really good, and so I just really connected with that, so that was really nice. Yeah, the last like 3 were really good if I remember correctly. On the Beach of Forgotten Things I really liked. I know 2 Robots at the End of the World was really good. But yeah. So those were my thoughts. I'm going to now give you the reviews I wrote in my book. I'm just going to read them to you. And then if I have extra thoughts, I'll tell you. So the first one was the foreword. I said, interesting enough, but not important enough to need to read. It does have some short story author's recommendations, so usually if I see a short story I'll save it. I have kind of stopped doing that now. I have a lot saved, and so yeah, that is that. 2 is 2 Robots at the End of the World, and I said it was cute, funny, and the ending is so sad. It was rounded out nicely though. It fit both thematically too. I think the themes were very strong. I wonder what will happen to Toaster now. And if I remember correctly, it's about 2 robots watching the sunset. And then 3 is The Life and Death of Lucia's Library. I wrote it was okay. I'm not quite sure why I didn't. Not sure why I didn't like it. Maybe because the main character felt so distant. Maybe because I'm supposed to care about the deaths more than I do. For the exclusion clause in spine print, this is the one I thought was almost like Mono Aware from Ken Liu's short story collection. I think it was a lesser version of Mono Aware by Ken Liu, though this was good enough, and I liked the different off at the end. How it's different. Then I read the 5th one is The Funerist, or Hate in 5 Parts. Not really sure what the footnotes were from. The story did a good job at pulling me in, and this felt very unique. That one's actually pretty cool. It's about this fairy thing, and its job is to kind of like be the monitor of book funerals. So like if you burn a book, like if you burn your diary, then a fairy comes and kind of like watches over it and mourns it and kind of gathers up the story from it. Roger, go throttle up. This was a poem, apparently. And I wrote, odd, but poetry tends to be. So I don't have any information about that. 7 is constellation of flesh, bone, and memory. The title is really good for this one. It ended but before I expected it to, but I think it was a good way to end. Overall, a good story. I don't remember what that was about. 8 was our worm beneath the skin. It's a really cool imagery because she feels like she has like worms in her skin. It's fascinating. I wrote, I don't get the metaphor of the worm, but the exploration of was good and gripping and understandable. Yeah, I don't get why the worm is there specifically, but I kind of like the image really stands out in my head. And then on the beach of forgotten things, I think the name describes it very well. I wasn't gripped until the last page, but I think it either needed to be less telly or the prose more purple. Yeah, cause it's a really interesting idea because this guy, there's a speech and forgotten things get washed up on it, and this little girl gets washed up on it, and this guy is taking care of her and helping her find her way home. And I think the idea is really strong, but the execution was just a little off. And then there's 10,000 Kinds of Silence. Poems always confused me a little, but I liked the breathing thing. It was a good show of how panic attacks feel like to me. So, what I said earlier. 11 is Flight of 10,000 Moths. I wrote, it was very I don't know what it's really supposed to be about. Maybe about the wonders right in front of us. I don't know. Didn't love it, which I would still agree with. Just dust and little light. It was okay. Didn't invest me, but had some good lines, and I can see where it was going. I loved its start. Then was Panastellar. It was a good look at how to handle things. It invested me from the first 2 pages. I also really liked the message it had. 14, Trickle Down Lobotomies. This one's the longest one in there. That was very intense and really good. The loss of humanity was insane and so natural. It was really good. So fascinating. And I think things were explored really good in the amount of pages. It was the perfect length, and how things trickled down was really cool. And then 15 is the last one, A Catalogue for the End of Humanity. And then I've read this one before because I got access to it. It was published somewhere else, and I got access to it for free, so I read it. And it was good. I wrote, it's really good and a good look at humanity that is quick. Okay, so those are my overall thoughts. I would say, now that I've read all that, I would say my favorites were that poem. I don't remember which one it was. 10,000 Kinds of Silence and Trickle Down Lobotomies. And conceptually, I really like On the Beach of Forgotten Things. Now I'm going to read you some quotes, because that's always fun. Motherboard. This is from Two Robots at the End of the World. Motherboard pivoted. We can't fix everything. For every door we bolt up and fix, another building falls down. Doesn't mean we shouldn't fix the doors. No, I like fixing doors too. Despite my astrological compatriots' claims, I do not find infinity at the edge of the universe, but at the bottom of a moth's wings. That's from Flight of 10 Million Moths. I really like that one. I never stopped believing, as if it's something you choose to do. truth is, you stopped caring first. You stopped caring about why you believed, and it becomes a thing detached, floating about you on a loose string, tagging along behind you. Part of you, but not quite a part of you, the way it used to be. And that's from Just Dust in the Light. And then from Stellar, it was an arrogant thought to believe you would find a way to prevent the final collapse when you could only show the facet of me how to face it. That one was actually really good. I totally recommend Stellar. Stellar was about this girl, two characters. So this girl, and she like draws the constellations and she's obsessed with them, and this being that's watching over them. And as she's watching over them, in this facet, it has like many different parts, and one of the parts is with that girl, and that part starts to detach from the overall being and starts to fall in love with this girl, and the girl shows them how to deal with the end of the world, and it's really sweet. And that's all the quotes I had. This was a fun short story collection to read. I'm really glad I read it. It's exciting to see someone who I've gotten a lot of good advice from write. I think a lot of these had more potential to be good than were actually good, but I did overall enjoy the collection, and I do think it was good. But yeah, if you're interested in, I don't know if you need to read all of these, but some of these are really good. I really liked Stellar. I really liked Trickle Down Lobotomies. I really liked Catalogue of the End of Humanity, Two Robots and the End of the World, and 1,000 Kinds of Silence. And then a lot of these had really good concepts, but I think the execution was a little lower than I would have loved. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. This is also really fun because it has a lot of different lengths of fiction. So we got some like flash fiction, we got some really long short story, like barely short stories, and we got some poems. So it's a really good explanation of all sorts of kinds of things. And yeah, those were my thoughts, and I'm glad I read this book. Thank you to Tim Higginson for writing this book and sharing so much about the writing world to me. And thank you to the person who gave this to me. I don't remember who, but I did get it for Christmas. And thank you to all of you for watching this video all the way to the end, or even just to part of it. And I hope to see you in another video. Bye. No. The next short story collection I'm reading, I feel like you should know, I'm currently working through Vampires Never Get Old, which is an anthology, and I'm probably gonna get through it pretty quick because I'm already 6 stories in out of 11, and I'm very fascinated with it. So I'm very enamored. I think that's the right word. So yeah, thanks again, and see you later. Bye for real this time.